A social movement is a concerted effort by groups of people to bring about social change and to create new social institutions.
Social movements, abolitionism, civil rights, animal rights, women's suffrage, the environmental movement, and the peace movement. They've instigated social change, the change of behavior patterns, throughout centuries. Social movements, as defined by Herbert Blumer, are collective enterprises to establish a new order of life. So basically, when a group of people are unhappy with their current place in life, they band together collectively to enact social change. These groups are typically bound by some commonalities such as age, race, gender, or social class. There are three explanations regarding how social movements emerge. The relative deprivation approach is defined as the desire a group has for change. The resource mobilization approach focuses on the resources and leadership a group has in order to begin and maintain a social movement. Another approach is the new social movement theory. New social movements focus more on a group's values and social identities as a result of the post-industrial economy. They concentrate less on issues surrounding economic well-being and more on those centering around non-materialistic qualities of life, including sexuality and pacifism. The straight edge movement is a new social movement that will explore and analyze in depth to gain a fuller understanding of what a social movement is. Relative deprivation, as the term indicates, is when a discontent person feels like they are deprived by their peers of something they deserve. In order for these feelings to snowball into a social movement, these people must feel they have a right to attain their goals. In addition, they must hold the belief that they only can attain their goals through collective action and not through conventional means. For example, X is something desirable. Group A has X, Group B wants X and believes they deserve it. This leads to a social movement in Group B's effort to gain X. Resource mobilization refers to the need for organizations to secure resources such as money, influence, and media to foster mobilization. These resources can affect the success of a given social movement. They also encourage membership since the benefit to join the social movement outweighs the cost to the individual. Also, the mobilization of a social movement is highly dependent on leadership. The leader must be charismatic, organized, passionate, and consistent.
I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory.
Relative deprivation and resource mobilization are not mutually exclusive. In fact, a social movement must have the desire that is mentioned with relative deprivation, but in order to bring about change, they must have some resources. On the flip side, if a group has resources and no want for change, no social movement will occur. In addition, these groups are not composed of random people. They have something in common that binds them, such as age, gender, race, or ethnicity. For example, women's rights. Gender was the binding factor. For the civil rights movement, it was race. New social movements refer to movements that have occurred since the 1960s. People, a part of new social movements, seek to improve their quality of life. They focus on their values and social identities. Typically, new social movements view the government as a force against them. New social movements also have a broader perspective over traditional social movements. With modern technology, movements are able to span across the world. The straight edge movement is an example of a new social movement.
Straight edge is an example of a social movement in the United States. Unintentionally inspired by the song by band Minor Threat titled Straight Edge, there are just a few simple rules. Don't drink, don't do drugs, and don't have promiscuous sex.
Straight edge really did emerge from one song that set out the values of straight edge, but it wasn't ever intended to be a movement. It must have tapped into something that was going on in our culture at the time, but it's contradictory in the sense that these kids are rebelling by living out what every middle-class parent's dreams are, in a sense, for their children.
Straight edge emerged as an appealing fusion of self-control and in-your-face protest. For these mostly adolescent white men, it was a reaction to the problems they saw substances the cause of. Straight edge is often considered peculiar because of its pairing of a drug-free lifestyle with a music scene viewed by society as deviant. And unlike other clubs or organizations, there is no sign-up. All you have to do is claim your affiliation.
There's no straight edge recruitment office or membership list. You can't look up straight edge in the yellow pages and then find your local chapter and pay your dues and suddenly you're straight edge. But to be involved, really all you have to do is make that claim, and make that claim for life.
Check, check.
The movement has much to overcome as a result of its ties to the hardcore music scene. At straight edge music shows, viewers engage in mosh pit antics, pushing, shoving, and sometimes punching and kicking others just for fun. But this act is not fueled by hate, drugs, or alcohol. It is instead fueled by a gathering of the faithful.
You feel pain when you get hit by someone else. You feel exhilarated when you're climbing on top of other people, and you know you're part of something that not everyone can be a part of.
Here, all of this, all these bands, this is something more than just music. This is something real that can actually change your life. This is something inside.
It is a positive message, delivered in an intense medium. It is a way to release the pressures of being young.
It's a positive way to get out your violence, get out your feelings.
You're not in your normal phase of mind, you're just having fun, you're letting everything out. It's good. I'd probably be crazy if I didn't go to shows.
But what are straight edge's end goals? Straight edge falls into the new social movement category. It has a set of values and appreciates new members to the movement, but it does not set out to convert everyone. Instead, it serves as more of a group for those of similar mentality to find refuge.
So, how exactly do groups like straight edge emerge? Moreover, why do individuals decide to join a social movement, whereas others in similar situations do not? Although many people are often discontented with their current positions, few are willing to mobilize at a particular time in a collective effort in pursuit of social change. What is often lacking in up-and-coming social movements is passion. In the straight edge movement, passion is equivalent to a lifestyle change. By abstaining from drugs, alcohol, and casual sex, the youth engage in rebellious behavior. They rebel against the traditional forms of rebellion by dismissing the pleasures of the body and consequently deviating from the norms of higher authority. This action lends itself to the marginalization of obedience, making straight-edge youth potentially dangerous to the dominant class. The two-decade movement's success extends beyond the traditional explanations for why people mobilize, calling for sociologists to give increasing attention to the forces of music and dedication. With its mounting achievement, it is a wonder why more groups have not followed in the straight-edge footsteps. Like many of the new social movements, white, educated, middle-class males significantly represent the straight-edge movement. According to frontman Ian MacKaye of Minor Threat, straight-edge groups are often extremely boy-oriented. This disparity between the sexes within the subculture is often attributed to the aggressiveness of the music involved, although the gap is gradually disappearing with the help of a lesbian feminist community. Often criticized for its lack of diversity, the racial boundaries may expand as more minorities gain access to different genres of music. Until then, through its expropriation of upper-class values and emphasis on individual improvement, the straight-edge movement offers a new outlook on social movement theory as it redefines activism.